An area that I've been struggling with massively on FC25 is playing out of the press in the middle of the park. I'm going to talk you through exactly kind of what I think we can do to try and avoid being pressed in the middle, especially obviously with those midfielders that we've got. So we've got quite a lot of examples today that we're going to go over and talk to you about. So something that I've tried to be more conscious of when I'm playing is to think about what does the opponent think I'm going to do, right? Look for the most obvious play when you have the ball. As a general rule of thumb, you can try and do the opposite. So when we look at this example, we can see Hamsik picks the ball up in a very good area for me to possibly look to go out to the wing or into my striker. Now, when I go out to the wing here, I have a right winger that's up against Mendy. Mendy is really strong. He's really quick. He's really difficult to get past. I don't really have any support. You know, I'm just transitioning kind of into that attack. If I play it into Thoram, the lone striker, I can maybe try and look for a 1-2. But as a whole, I'm going to get clamped in that position. He's not very agile, not very good at kind of, dribbling out of that position. So instead of going for the most obvious play, which is into one of, these players, I'm going to fake that and essentially move upwards and then look for the long ball over the top over here. Now, this ball works especially well, or any kind of over top through balls, when you have a winger who's out there available for you. And that's something that I've been trying to use to help me kind of play out of the press. So a good example of not playing into what the opponent thinks I'm going to do and trying to catch him off guard. Now, in this position, this isn't necessarily playing out of the press, but it's certainly something that you guys can take note of. When I get to here, how do I now try and create an opportunity? I tap L1 down into this sort of direction because Thoram's the only player here to where I'm pointing. That triggers him on a run in towards the 18-yard box. Then it means I can obviously look to try and get the ball into him and play into his strengths, which is obviously crossing. So as we do that with Martinelli, just put a normal square ball in and then he finds that finish. An unbelievable goal as well. Now, next one we can see, I'm just defending. I'm trying to think about here in this position. If I win the ball, where is my out ball? This is something that I've been struggling with because I find myself not actively thinking about when I'm defending, where do I go when I win the ball? So sometimes I just kind of press pass aimlessly and then the opponent, intercepts it and gets it. The analogy that I like to use in this sort of area is if you drive a vehicle and you're on the motorway, the highway, whatever it is called for yourself, you're always taught to have an out plan, have an escape. Look at the lanes in front of you where you're going, but also look in your mirrors and look behind you. So you've got if you're on a 3-lane motorway, you've got the 3 lanes in front of you. You've then got 3 lanes behind you. So you've got 6 lanes to think of. If someone's going to come up on your inside and possibly cause you trouble, how do you get out of that? If you're driving forward and you see a lorry that's swerving over into the middle of the lane, how do you get out of that? Where is your escape route? And what I mean by that is, when I win the ball here, where is my escape route? So not only are you trying to defend, you're trying to think about, how do I play out? And that means looking at the mini map. If we look down here, I've got, a big over the top through ball. If I win the ball here, I might be able to play the ball into Joe Linton. And just thinking about that. So as you can see, I bring Joe Linton back. I win that ball. And now it's okay. What do I do in this position? I look at the mini-map instantly. I know I've got time because there's no one around me. Hamsik's got, a bit of space to kind of operate in. So now I can look to play out, look to get into that out ball. And that's what I do. I use a player lock here where I press the left stick and the right stick in. I then change to my left winger, Martinelli, play that ball over the top. And again, look to trigger that run into Nunes. Nunes gets in there. Unfortunately, no goal there. But again, a good transition out from that midfield. Moving on to our next example, trying to defend Neymar, doing a very bad job of it, but we do pick it up. So this is playing out of the press. And what I mean by that is, what I mean here in this position is playing out of the press, but using your brain for it. So I don't know how to say this lady's name, so I do apologise. Gacy, I think it is, up against Mendy. I'm being pressed here from Mendy. I could try and beat him. If I had someone here that I feel a little bit more confident with in the shoulder-to-shoulder battle, then I might try and beat Mendy. But as a whole, what I'm going to look to do here is to protect the ball. A lot of the times, I was finding myself, as we're learning the L1 speed boost, wanting to turn and wanting to try and speed boost past everyone. And I just kept turning the ball over and over and over, giving the opponent obviously their chance to have a go at my defence. So I'm going to protect the ball here. So I'm going to keep Gacy in between the ball and the player. So then if Mendy wants to try and come round me, he's got to go through the player and more than likely give away a foul. So just protecting the ball, making sure I'm not giving it away aimlessly here. I trigger Joe Linton on a run, then I look for that first time over the top, manage to get that into there. And now I'm out of the press. Now I'm into his final third. I can then look to do what I do. I do actually recycle here. And this position is one of the biggest positions that I think people are really well, I say people, me, and from what a lot of people that I've been watching do struggle with, when you lay it into this position, so you're in between the midfield and the defense, unless you have a very nimble attacker here who can turn and get an L1 speed boost off, or a skill move, a step over, a trickster fake shot, you know, whatever it is, you find yourself in a bit of bother. So if I turn either way here, bang, I'm pressed, I lose the ball. I don't have the facility to do this. So thinking about player roles, and well, so I used to kind of call it the player identity, who it is. This is Thoram. Thoram's not very good at turning and going. Straight line speed, fine, but not a turn and go. So now instead, I'm going to look to just lay this ball back into the positions where I think we can just recycle, and then look for someone else in a better position. So I don't turn the ball over here. And this is something that I was doing time and time again, turning that ball over, getting into trouble, laying it into Hamshik, going for a side heel to heel, and a red time finish, but still finding the back of the net, which was very, very interesting. But either way, we did get there indeed. So pick the ball up here. Joe Linton looking to move around, just playing nicely. And then again, that out ball, as I said, you can see how there I was just kind of drawing in the pressure and then playing for that out ball. This is the L1 speed boost that we've been playing about, which can help you play out of the press in this sort of position. My other choice here really is to go back and fully recycle. I fancy this. I fancy Martinelli in this area. So I hold L1. And then as I line up the defender and go into this position, I'm going to let go of L1, and then I'm going to hold sprint, and you're going to get this speed boost and burst away. You've probably seen it for so many people. I expect it to be patched pretty quickly because of how good it is. But yeah, definitely something we can use in our game. A player lock again there, taking that touch and then finding that finish. And again, Thoram, just showing that example of that speed boost. Yes, he can do it. I think the higher the acceleration you have, you'll have a lot more joy with it. But yes, definitely something viable. So this position. This is what I mean when we pick it up here. I am trying to, in this area, say, okay, how do I get forward? How do I get into this position? Now, realistically, I could probably look to just send this. Oh, wrong one, sorry. I could look to just send this over the top, L1 triangle, into my left winger. But if I wanted to be more on the safe side here, well, I can just turn and just play the ball into Rodri, and then Rodri could play this over the top. Rodri could play the ball over the top into the striker. I have a few different options. Instead, I try to force my way through and then look for that pass, and I get clamped straight away, and I put myself in that bother. In this position, look at how I draw in the press. So I play the ball into Hamshik. He then switches to the player closest to the ball and thinks, yeah, I can go and get this. And now I can just say, let's lay it into Rodri, open up that space, first time pass, bang, I've beat the press. I'm now up against his defence and I can look to go. So draw in that pressure, then lay the ball off, and you'll find yourself in a lot more success and having a lot more kind of joy in that position. Again, just showing the examples of how the over-the-top through balls can work really, really well. Looking to recycle here and being patient. I'll play a lock, bottle the finish, unfortunately, but still a very, very good example. So there we have it then, a few examples of how we can look to play out of the press. I have also been using and testing, and I'll probably come back to you on this one, agile dribbling, where you hold L2 and R2 to kind of beat the press in the middle of the park. I think that's something we can look to do as well. If you did enjoy the video, let me know by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you do want to learn how to defend on FC25, click this video right here, and that will take you over to it.